All right. So first thing first. The camera might not be that noticeable. The camera's lower than usual. The first time I tried to do this podcast thing, I used a different lens. I use the same lens, but it's a zoom lens. So I guess this is for camera nerds, but different lenses have different effects on your perception of the space. So this is a zoom lens. It goes from around 40 millimeters to 20. Now I'm using it at 40 millimeters at the longest focal length. First time I tried, I used it at 20. So the camera was closer to me. And you had more of the space. There was less compression, even though it's subtle at these focal lengths. So there's a cinematographer. Is this recording? It is recording. There's a cinematographer. There's a cinematographer called Roger Deakins. You might not know him by name, but he shot Blade Runner 2049. He shot Skyfall, 007 Skyfall, James Bond Skyfall. Most recently, he shot 1917, which was made to look like a long take. He's arguably the greatest cinematographer of all time. To me, he is. I'd say he's number one. And he has an interview specifically where he talks about the effect of focal length. He likes to shoot, I believe, between 27 to 32 millimeters, which is considered medium wide. He does that because he likes to put the camera close to his subjects. He likes to see the space around them, and he likes the way it looks. He doesn't like the compression and the space you get with longer lenses. So in a specific interview, he talks about that, and the people shooting the interview, they change the focal length during the interview as he says that. So nowadays people use a lot of long lenses because that gives you bokeh, as in out of focus areas, and it's very pleasing. It's what you would use for portraits mostly, because it focuses your attention on your subject, and people use that a lot nowadays. But he doesn't like it. It's cold in a way, because you have to be at a certain distance from your subject, because the focal length is so long. So he uses wider lenses. In the interview, he makes they change the lens, so they put the camera closer. And the effect is that you have a sense of the presence of the person. You have more of a sense of the presence because you're closer. So when I started, I used my 20 millimeters, my wider lens, closer to me. And for example, like if I move my hands right now, you don't feel it as much as if I was using a wider focal lens. It's more intimate. I also saw an interview, I believe on Film Courage on YouTube, where another cinematographer, and I'm not sure, I think he's a French guy, Brunuel, no. I think he was working specifically for that interview. He talks about working for a film where the poster is like two worlds. Oh my god, I keep hitting the mic. Two words stacked on top of each other, like mirrored. I don't know what the film is about, but he talks about how he has this actor, and I think, how would I describe him? He's the bad guy in the Wolverine Origins movie, the terrible one, with Deadpool at the end, with his mouth sewn shut. I think he's not the brother, like the general. I think that's that actor. And so the cinematographer talks about how he uses different focal lengths for different people, because the wide lens will exaggerate the features. And so for that actor specifically, he didn't go too wide because the actor has a big forehead and he didn't want to accentuate it, which I thought was interesting. So yeah, focal lengths are very important in filmmaking, and I'm thinking of changing again and going back to wide, maybe. What I liked about this is I was able to get a very minimalistic frame. Less so now because I put the camera down. I didn't like the fact that the camera was looking so much down. It's a strange feeling, I feel, to look at a video of someone looking up at you, especially if they're sitting on the bed. That's pretty strange. Now the camera is still elevated slightly, but not as much. But as a result, now the frame is more busy. You can see the shelf, you can see more things. So I'm shooting into a mirror, and I was thinking of getting a TV, and so because the mirror is gonna have to move at some point. So if I get the TV, I won't be able to shoot into the mirror anymore, and I won't be able to use the long lens. I'll have to use a wider lens and turn the camera around, so I'll lose space. We shall see. Now the camera also, it's aligned perfectly with my punching bag. My punching bag right here is right behind the camera, so it feels like because the punching bag is black and the camera, the tripod are black, it feels like I'm addressing my punching bag. Sorry, dude. Or, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of doing a short film about a horror film about a punching bag who wants to take his revenge, because it makes sense. Like the short film starts with me just punching the punching bag, hitting the bag, and it leaks, or there's always water coming out a little bit, so it would be like the tears or the blood of the punching bag, like close-ups of the water dripping, little droplets, the bag suffering. And it's like, this bag I think is 150 kilos. Like, it would fuck me up if it could move. Just imagine it like hovering, just the punching bag hovering over my head while I'm sleeping and speaking to me, or moving at night in the dark bedroom. Anyways, I have notes, and talking about nerdy camera stuff, film versus digital is a topic that all film nerds like to talk about. Roger Deakins, who's my pick for possibly the greatest cinematographer of all time, he thinks that digital is better, partly because it's easier to use, and arguably a runner-up for best cinematographer of all time is Chivo, or Emmanuel Lubezki. He won 3 Oscars in a row, I think. He won for Birdman, he won for Gravity and The Revenant, which are amazing. Well, substance-wise, the last 2 are quite empty. It's mostly about aesthetic, but the aesthetic is amazing. And they both think that digital is better than film, which makes sense, especially for Chivo, who's very into technology, advancing filmmaking technology, and his style is very, innovative. But they both think that digital is better. And I think it's Chivo who compared film to shooting through a dirty window. And I think that's why I like film, because actually I'm shooting through a dirty mirror at the moment. If I could shoot this podcast on film, I would. And the way I like to describe the difference between the two is that digital is imperfectly perfect and film is perfectly imperfect. And what I mean by that is that film has flaws. They can be called flaws. It has characteristics or attributes which are intrinsic to film. And there's a cinematographer called Steve Yedlin. He shot The Last Jedi, Knives Out. I don't know if he shot the second one. Probably he did. He's a really good cinematographer as well. And he's created a program, or I don't know what you would call it, a software plugin to replicate film. And he's made some very convincing side-by-side comparisons. But I mean, he should make it available for people because it looks very good. But one of my favorite characteristics of film is halation. So I'm not very good at explaining how it works. So halation is a red, usually orangey red glow that you would get in the areas of high contrast. So areas between darkness and lights, where the highlights are clipping in comparison to where the image is quite dark. In that transitional area, you'd get a red halo, a red glow. Or it can happen in other areas. It can be just flares sometimes. I think in Babylon recently, by Damien Chazelle, has the most gorgeous halation and flares I've seen in a while. Like halation, literally, I'll compare it to food again. It's like chocolate. It's just so delicious. It's just makes my hair stand on my arms. I love halation. And that's something that not, especially in recent years, a lot of plugins have been created to replicate it, to replicate halation. And I've tried some, and their shit doesn't work because. So Steve Yedlin claims he has found a solution, and possibly he has, but I don't think so. It seems like halation is too much of an organic process that you can't replicate it. The plugins especially are terrible. They just don't work. Yo.
Excuse-moi. T'enregistres?
Oui. Qu'y a-t-il?
Non, bah c'est pas grave. C'est pas grave.
Oh. Halation. Number one favorite characteristic of film. Then there's grain, which people are into a lot nowadays. Grain. There's gate weave, but that's not really something people focus on too much. And then there's highlight roll off. I watched the Lord of the Rings series, Rings of Power. It's MEH, I would say, very meh. It's supposed to be like the most expensive series of all time. I think they were talking about $1 billion for the 2 seasons or something like that. And yet there are, so film has these flaws. You might have gate weave, you have your grain. It's not as sharp, unless 17 millimeters is very sharp, but usually it's not as sharp. You'll usually shoot 35. Halation, you have halation. So these are the flaws. These are some of the flaws. I'm probably forgetting some. But so halation, the process of halation, what happens is that light bounces through the film and it bounces back and it hits a layer of the film. So you have 3 layers: green, red, and blue, RGB. Well, red, green, and blue in that case, RGB. And the layer at the back is red. And so when the light bounces, it hits the red and it burns, I believe. You're on YouTube, so you can check for yourself. It takes 5 seconds. You'll know better than me within 5 seconds. But I believe the light bounces back and it hits that red layer, and that's why you can see it. Terrible explanation. Anyways, it looks beautiful. It's amazing. Halation. Now, digital. So, film is imperfect. And it's in low light, it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I think it looks just beautiful in low light. It's not as capable. You need to light it more. But, lighting is part of the job of filmmaking, isn't it? But sure, digital makes things easier. But in digital, the characteristics of digital is that it looks sharp. You can shoot in low light. It looks cleaner. it doesn't have characteristics, or it doesn't have character, because digital is like some chip, some program interpreting information. It's all this digital nonsense. Whereas film is an actual piece of film. It's a chemical process. It's tangible. It's physical. And digital has shitty highlight roll off, and the clipped highlights look horrible on digital. When you clip your highlights, you've all taken a picture of your iPhone or something in an image with a lot of contrast. For example, you shoot a sunset, you can either have the sky be clear, or if you choose to have the ground clear, like visible and bright, then the sky becomes blown out, becomes all white. That's because of the dynamic range of the camera. But on digital, when you clip your highlights, as in when your highlights go beyond the threshold of the dynamic range, they look all white. They look horrible. It looks horrible when you clip your highlights. Just disgusting on digital. But on film, it looks beautiful. The roll off is kind of smooth. It's just beautiful. Now, Roger Deakins, the way he grades his films, the way he color grades and handles the image, and he shoots on the best camera on Arri Alexa, he's able to get nice looking clipped highlights on digital. But the most expensive series of all time, Lord of the Rings, they clip their fucking highlights, which is like one of the, I don't know, I hate clipped highlights on digital specifically. On film, for the most part, it can look alright. It can look beautiful. It can look nice. But on digital, it looks like shit. It looks horrible. 99% of the time, if you're not named Roger Deakins. And they clip the highlights. Like, why? You have $1 billion. How are you clipping your highlights? Like, fucking use bounce. Do something. I don't know. I hate clipped highlights. They look cheap. It's like when you're a kid and you're using coloring pens, the ones that are like kind of soft, moist. Like you color an area of the image of your drawing, and then you go back on it, and the paper starts to like tear off. You start to damage it because it's too humid. Like we've all been there, right? That it's so annoying. It sucks. And obviously, when you grow up and you learn how to use a pen, or you learn how to use these tools, that doesn't happen. You're not gonna go back over the same area and rip the paper off because it's so annoying, right? Well, it's the same thing with fucking cameras. Don't clip your highlights, man. Unprofessional. Anyways, I mean, it can be an aesthetic, but usually it's just, I don't know. It's just incompetence. It's not incompetence, but it's like, it's one of those things I hate. Can be avoided. Just plan ahead. So, but yeah, when I'll be making films, I'll only shoot on digital. On film, sorry. Whoops. I'll only shoot on film. I mean, the three kind of modern filmmakers who advocate for film, Paul Thomas Anderson, Tarantino, and Christopher Nolan, they all have very compelling arguments if you want to look into that. Everyone has their opinion, but like film is something tangible. I think it's that simple. It's tangible. It has character. Next, on to the next topic, because I have a list, because I am organized today. So last time I wanted to talk about something else that Alex Hormozy said. This podcast is sponsored by Alex Hormozy, by the way. It's not. And in that same interview with the bad jewelry guy, they talk about how getting to something like 4 episodes of a podcast, I don't know if that was the number 4, maybe 4, 6, a very low number, is an achievement. Something like 90% of podcasts don't go further than that, because people just stop, I guess, or they give up. Now, one good thing is I'm not doing this with the aim of getting views and becoming famous or something. Making it is the aim. So at some point I got like 800 views on a video, which was strange. But then now I'm getting 5-10 views, so back to normal. So since that's not the driving force or the oh, I had the word, shit, the motivation, so that doesn't matter. The motivation is getting more comfortable and getting better at this. So I think I'm getting better weekly. Here I have more bullet points than I've ever had, so that's an improvement. I shouldn't get lost. So that's another point completed. Thank you, Alex Hormozy. This episode will be called Congratulations then, because we made it. This is episode 6, I think. We made it to 6 and soon 7, because I'm recording this late in the week, so I'll record the next one pretty soon. Next, key problems. Last time I talked about how we had locked ourselves out. Well, a few days later, which is a few days ago now, 2-3 days later, we got our keys stolen. We have, I don't know how many keys we have, but not enough for 4 people. What we do when someone is out and they don't have keys, then they're gonna get home late, is that we leave the keys in the bush downstairs, on the streets in front of the apartments, the apartment building. And my mother called me around 10, I think. She said, "Oh, I'm getting home late. I don't have the keys." My brother told me she has the keys because the other pair is not here. I'm lazy. I couldn't be bothered, so I just said, "Fuck it. We'll just leave the keys downstairs, by the bush, as we usually do." Well, of course, she had the keys. Oh, yeah, she had the keys. Yeah, she had the keys. My brother was right. I went to sleep. My brother went down the street to put the keys in the bush, and then our mother didn't find them. And my brother puts them deep in the bush so that you can't just see them from the street. So the theory is that maybe a squirrel stole it. That would be the animated cartoon for kids. What happens after that? I can't be bothered to go into that idea. Or someone saw him and then they stole it. So the point is, people are trying to get in here. People want to get into this apartment here. That's what my paranoid mind is telling me. Someone's got our keys. So we had the door key thing, the lock. We had it changed. Oh, my shoulders. We had it changed. I think so. We've got 2 new pairs of keys, but I think there's 1 pair unaccounted for as of now. We got it replaced 3 days ago. There's already a pair missing. Next point. I saw an Instagram reel or something. I saw an Instagram reel, an interview from a podcast of a woman. I think she's an author, and she talks about how nowadays people are given too much time to talk without having to be entertaining. She was saying, in my house, if you started talking and you weren't interesting, people would just cut you off. And that made me think about this thing here, how I need to up my game, because it's the same in my house. You can't just start talking and be fucking boring and you'll get cut off. I mean, that's the case in most families, right? But I'm pretty fucking boring in these podcasts. I'm not yet as comfortable as I would be if I was just talking to my family. Not yet. But yeah, it's made me think about how I need to energy. I need to be more energetic. But my God, I'm so much more energetic now than I was in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, the first few, the ones that I put on private and I'm not sharing on YouTube. So I'm progressing. Let's keep going. Let's keep progressing. God, so many notes. No, I hate when computers correct things that are not mistakes. It's okay. One of my colleagues got fired last week She was always late. And she got fired. Well, I don't know why I took that note. Yeah. Not going to talk about that. Last weekend, my brother and I went to see a concert went to see Moon Hooch. Don't know how to describe their music. It's like, I think officially it's acid jazz, but they make like fucking dubstep and they make all kinds of stuff. Anyways, it was amazing. We only had 2 beers, but after a while, my brother and I are very introverted. And even at the concert, like we were both like this, like in the front row, listening to the music, bobbing our heads, and people around us were like jumping up and down, and wiggling, you know. It's funny, that thing. The idea of I can't dance at all. But like, you're not gonna go anywhere. You go to a club or anything where people can dance. They're just wiggling like fucking. They're just moving their body. They don't know how to dance. Is my point. Most people don't know how to dance. It's not, you don't dance. You just kind of, you kind of shake your body to the music. You just. Well, how do I say this? Yeah, I mean, there's no point being self-conscious because people don't know how to dance. If you know how to dance, you're not like. What am I saying? Just the point in these situations is to just let go, enjoy the moment, enjoy the music, and let the music flow through you. It's not about knowing how to dance. I know that, but it still takes me a while before I can get loose. Also, I would like to learn how to dance. I'd like to learn how to sing, how to play an instrument. These are all things I feel like things that are so valuable. Like your voice, if you can sing, it's like you're an instrument if you can sing. How amazing is that? If you can sing, you're an actual instrument. You can make music. You are music. I mean, that's amazing. And if you can play an instrument, you just need the instrument, and then you can also make music, and that's amazing. And if you can dance, your body is it's like a visual representation of music. How amazing is that? And just the idea of having control over your body, and not like my body is the opposite of a dancer's body or a singer's body. It's so stifled and like tight. Like I am the most unflexible person in the world. I started doing calisthenics like a few days ago, wanting, I want to gain some weight and I want to get strong. And part of it is I'm stretching my wrists and trying to touch my toes. I can't touch my toes. Like I'm so far from touching my toes. It's like my whole body is just so fucking tight. Which is why I would like to be flexible. I will learn how to dance, how to play an instrument, and perhaps how to sing. Eventually, it will happen. But at the moment, I can't do jack shit. And the Moon Hooch concert ended, there was a mosh pit, and mosh pits are wonderful. So that was nice. My next note. Should we do that note or the other note? Actually, I'll do the poem. My God, I'm so late on learning this week's poem. I mean, the next episode. I'll do this poem now. Close this, it's distracting. Actually, it's lighting me. No, there's still light outside. What time is it? What's the poem again? Oh, Plante d'un Icare. Plante d'un Icare? Oh, Jesus Christ, I don't even know the title. That's embarrassing. I'm pretty sure it's Plante d'un Icare. Plante d'un Icare. Les plantes d'un Icare, I missed the word. Les plantes d'un Icare. I need to give you the English translation. Like, complaints of Icarus, but it's an Icarus. Give me a translation. The laments of an Icarus. Laments, of course, it's poetry. Laments, not complaints. The laments of an Icarus. Les plaintes d'un Icare. There's this sentence from the film, no idea what it's called, but it's with Adam Driver. And he wants to do poetry in that film. He writes poetry. And the line, I watched this movie because I found a screenshot of the movie with the line, with the subtitles, and it says, I think it's that translating poetry is like taking a shower with a raincoat. Like so many things are like that. They can't be, or like another really good quote is, explaining a joke is like dissecting a frog. You understand it better, but the frog dies in the process. Similar idea, but yeah, so many things are what they are. If you don't get it, you don't get it. You can't dilute it in order to understand it, I think. Anyways, I didn't finish the film, but I liked the. It's by Jim Jarmusch, I think. I need to finish it. That's my point. But yeah, I have to read these poems in French, and there's no point translating them, was my point. Les plaintes d'un Icarus par Charles Baudelaire. Les amants des prostituées sont heureux, dispos et repus. Quant à moi, mes bras sont rompus pour avoir étreint des nuées. C'est grâce aux astres non pareils qui tout au fond du ciel flamboient que mes yeux consumés ne voient que des souvenirs de soleil. En vain, j'ai voulu de l'espace trouver la fin et le milieu. Sous je ne sais quel œil de feu, je sens mon aile qui se casse. Et brûlé par l'amour du beau, je n'aurai jamais l'honneur sublime de donner mon nom à l'abîme qui me servira de tombeau. Done. I could hear my mother and my brother in the background talking, and when I started reciting, they stopped talking. I think they might be behind the door. Go away. Right, that's okay. I affirmed it. I completed the poem, even though that's like in Get Out when he goes upstairs and everyone stops speaking downstairs, right? That was that same vibe. As soon as I started speaking, silence. Pressure is on. Something's wrong. Alright, that's out of the way. I'll go into my next notes. Actually, should I? Oh. I wanted to talk about Echoes. Echoes, a film that a film script I've been working on for a few years now. But the point of that is I want to do I want to do 45 minutes of talking about the film, because that's the challenge. If I can do that, then I have something. So there's no point talking about it now, or I'll just give like a brief summary. So Echoes is the name. Actually, I don't know about that. So Echoes is about a guy who gets a job at the company where they write our thoughts. So ever wondered where your thoughts come from? Well, naturally you think you have an idea, but actually you don't, because your thoughts are being written by someone else. They've been written and you're just reading them out. You're so used to it, you have no idea. You have no idea that, well, you think they're yours. Right, that's the idea. Just like when you read a book. I started reading. Let me use a smart word. Yo, seriously. Ça va et toi?
Ça va.
Tranquille?
Oh, look, nice. T'as vu? That's good patterns. Where'd you go?
Stockwell Road.
Nice. See, that's good patterns. T'as vu, t'as pas de cheveux sur les référents, une vraie clean.
Mm. I listen to you.
Ah, you shaved your beard. Oh, Jesus.
Alright, just
Oh,
thank
no.
you, thank you.
Assiduously.
Assiduously. Yeah, 2 years ago I started reading assiduously. Then I stopped, unfortunately. I need to get back into it. But yeah, reading is magical, right? It's so cool. Because when you read something, when someone writes something and you read it, they put their thoughts into words, but then you put these words into thoughts. It's like, it sounds so stupid. It's like when Joe Rogan says, science is kind of amazing, right? It's the same type of thought. That's basically me speaking all the time. I sound exactly like that. Science is kind of amazing, right? That very specific brand of stupidity. That's my brand of communication. Anyways. But yeah, that's what's because like movies, I want to make films because when you make a film, you can use every single art form at once. I love music, have music, visuals, I don't know, dancing, fucking hell, yo, right?
Faudrait que tu te fasses, tu sais, une petite pancarte de notre desktop.
Oui.
Ouais. Bah, j'avais pensé aussi dans ma rue, j'ai besoin d'une skirt.
Non, juste pour autre chose, non. T'as pas autre chose?
Okay, I'm gonna find something else. But I need to be pretty.
Pourquoi, qu'est-ce qui se passe ça?
Meet people.
Tu fais quoi?
I'm gonna meet people. I'm going to a comedy night in Brixton. And I'm gonna meet
Comedy night.
But I need to, you know.
Okay.
Okay. Bon,
Okay. Okay. Where was I? Shit. Yeah. Wow. As soon as she closes the door. Zoop! Literature. Anyways, yeah. So film has every single art form, but then reading is the opposite. Less is more. With literature, you have nothing. You just have the text. So I'm saying things that have been said a million times before, whatever. You just have the text, so you have to create your images in your own mind, blah blah blah. But like to me, like the X factor, the magical thing is that I think to myself, Jeremy walked into a room. Yeah, whatever. Jeremy walked into a room. So I think that. I write that. You read that, and you think that. So it's like it. So it's, you might as well have thought that, is what I mean. You might as well. When you read that, it's the same. You read with the same voice that you just think. You're thinking, I want a sandwich. That's you thinking, and then you're reading. Jeremy walked into the room. That's also the same voice saying that. So it's like in Inception, the movie by Christopher Nolan. It's like I'm putting this idea inside your head. No, not like a virus or an infection, but you know what I mean. It's like, that's the cool thing to me, is that you can appropriate the piece of writing. You can appropriate it, and obviously I see a certain room, a certain Jeremy, and you see your version of that. So writing is really cool. I would love to find ways to incorporate reading, like find creative ways to use subtitles and stuff. Don't use that stuff. Find creative ways to use subtitles in my movies. I think it's an underrated thing, text in movies. I used to hate it. I still kind of do it because it's always done badly. But I think it's an underrated tool in movies, text. Which, it doesn't make any sense right now as I'm saying it, but don't worry, I'll figure out ways. I have some ideas already. Text, underrated. So Echoes, a guy gets a job at the company where they write your thoughts. That's the idea. I think I'm not gonna go any further today. That's the idea. There's a colleague of mine who's been watching these. He's the first person, well, the only person who's told me he's ever seen these in person. Very embarrassed at first. He saw the ones that I deleted or that I put on private. And he immediately told me at work, "Oh, I saw your podcast." I was like, "What do you mean podcast?" And he said, I was like, "What?" Oh, I felt so naked, all of a sudden. Anyways, I wanted to do an interview, and today he was like, "So when am I gonna go on your podcast?" So I think I'll interview him, but I need to like prepare myself. I need to be ready. First, so yeah, like, this is the setup. How am I gonna film this? I only have one mic. We'll figure this out. I think we'll finish on this note here. Wanting to be 50 Cent at 5/6. When I was a kid, I wanted to be 50 Cent. I'm realizing now, I looked at when the albums come out. The album, Get Rich or Die Trying. So I must have been around 5 or 6 when I first saw 50 Cent. In the morning, I remember as a kid, I used to go to my dad's with my brother, but I think usually I used to go, he was sleeping, and we'd say, "Can we watch the cartoons, please?" And he'd go, "Yes." And we'd watch cartoons in the morning. But at a certain hour, I don't remember what hour, but at a certain point in the morning, that channel that showed the cartoons they stop, and it starts showing music videos. I guess it goes into MTV. Don't know how these things work. And I was never interested in that. As soon as it's not animated, colorful characters, and it's people dancing and stuff. Stop saying stuff. People dancing. My brother and I would just lose interest. We'd turn it off. Plus, I don't think our parents really wanted us to watch that. Actually, I don't remember if they cared. But I just remember as soon as it was real humans, I was like, it's over now. But one day, it was, I should look up which music video it was. I think it was Little Bit. I remember so vividly just the images in that video. It's funny, is it? No, but I don't really have that many memories of when I was that age, 5, 6. Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit. That's weird. I don't have that many memories of that age, but the ones I have are very vivid and strong. Yeah, it was a little bit. So, wait, when was that released? So it says 13 years ago on YouTube. 13 years ago. Nah, that's not when I saw it. Or is it? Okay, 2005. So I was 6. Yeah, 5, 6. And so I remember what I remember specifically. So as soon as I saw that, I just wanted to be 50 Cent, basically. My mom recently, when she told me about how, I guess anytime she hears me listen to 50 Cent, she said, "Oh, you remember when you were 6 and you wanted to be 50 Cent?" Because he had the posters everywhere in Paris, on the tube, on the metro, on the underground. Oh, hello there. Well, no wonder I wanted. Anyways. Oh, that's the actor. I don't know where he's from. But I remember specifically he has the jean shorts, like that are way too long. And that, Jesus, they are way too long. The jean shorts. He has the tank top. He wears different hats. I don't think I was that interested in the hats. Hats look stupid. I wasn't interested in the jewelry actually either. I wanted the white tank top, the huge jean shorts, and I wanted to be 50 Cent. And I wanted to be surrounded by beautiful women. At the time, that's as far as that thought would go, right? When you're 5 or 6, there was nothing. Yeah, it's strange actually, because there was nothing sexual about it. It was like, man, he's in this tropical location. There's a bed on the beach or something, and he has these beautiful women around him. I'm wondering actually how I viewed that, because I remember wanting that, but since there was nothing sexual attached to it? What was I interested in that? Anyways, and I wanted, so since I wanted to be 50 Cent, I wanted to be black. I wanted to be big, like strong, muscular, have tattoos everywhere and be black. And that's a funny thing, because I know a lot of people can relate. And the thing when you're a kid is that obviously you don't attach context to this idea. And I remember my dad had this poster of Michael Jordan dunking, this iconic picture. I remember I had seen it many times, and I didn't even know what the image was of. It was some guy. It seemed like some guy in the air. I don't know if it was from a movie, if it was real. Very iconic picture, seen from below with quite a wide lens of Michael dunking, I think, the ball right there, from underneath the rim, looking up. And I think I was 6 when my mother made me start playing basketball. Like, put me in a club. She wanted me to do sports. My dad wanted me to do football or soccer, as you Americans call it. But I wasn't that interested. But basketball I really liked. Once my mother made me play basketball, I think I was around 6, around the same age. So I started looking at the what? That scared me. Yeah, looking at basketball, and I was like, oh, so that's what that picture is of. It's Michael Jordan dunking. So cool. But yeah, when you're a kid, like skin color when you're a kid is like, it's just an attribute. It's just like a haircut or an outfit. Yeah, it's just an attribute. It's just like an outfit. And this idea of it's a weird idea. I remember I was talking with my manager at work, and she was telling me how when she was a kid she wanted to have curly hair, afro hair, because her friends had afro hair. But then a lot of black people, they want their hair, they don't like afro hair. They find ways to get rid of it, or they'll straighten their hair, things like that. So it's funny how the grass is always greener on the other side. We always want things that we can't have, or that we want what we don't have. It's just natural. But yeah, I remember vividly when I was a kid, I wanted to be black, and I wanted to be strong, like 50 Cent. I wanted to be 50 Cent. And like 50 Cent specifically, because he has that whole demeanor, that's just the smoothest, coolest guy. At the same time, he has this story, right? His life story of being such a badass life story, really. Like, he has everything as a kid you look up to. So, I wanted to be a rapper. Then I wanted to be LeBron James or Michael Jordan. When I started playing basketball. So I wanted to be even taller and stronger than 50 Cent. I wanted to be an athlete. I mean, these are phases that all kids go through. And yeah. What was the point of this? I don't know. I don't think there was one. But yeah, I think 50 Cent is one of the most underrated rappers of all time. I have strong opinions, okay? Film is better than digital. Can't change my mind on that. It's just way better. Incomparable. And Rakim is the greatest rapper of all time. And you people listening to modern rap or modern shit who have no idea what good hip-hop is, Rakim is the GOAT. But I think 50 is in my top 10. He is. Depends how you categorize it, but yeah, I love 50 Cent. He's underrated. Oh, my brother is listening to Simande, I think. And LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. It's the playoffs right now. He just had 15 against the Grizz, which is... Oh, come on, man. Could have closed this 4-1 easy. It's the Grizzlies, man. There's no way they win this year, but that would be cool if they did. No way. But yeah, LeBron is the best of all time. We're not going to get into this. I had this argument with my brother every other day. He thinks Nas is the GOAT, which, fair enough. Nas, Rakim, I can see it, but I still think Rakim is the best. And Kobe Bryant is definitely not the best of all time. Above LeBron, no way. Like, did you? I don't know. Shit. If you're not a filmmaking nerd and a basketball nerd and a hip hop nerd, then this is not a podcast for you. I'm joking, but yeah. Did you see if you watch basketball, you saw LeBron reverse? I don't think that was an alley-oop. I think that was just him on the fast break. Was it? Yeah, just fucking reverse dunked it, heads almost at the rim. I believe Chael. He's taking something and it's good. He's taking the good shit. He's taking that secret juice, LeBron, for sure. Anyways, mission accomplished. Okay, podcast over, finished. Congratulations is the title. Also, I'm going to be releasing a video on this channel. It's a channel, I got a channel. I'm going to be releasing a video of Dri Mystico performing music. I filmed that. That was almost a year ago, half a year ago. Filmed that, and yeah, have a look if you want. I told myself, I've been thinking about like being a creator on YouTube, right? Or just making content on YouTube for so long. I will never, ever be the guy that says, remember to press the buttons and the notifications and subscribe and shit. Never. I just did it. But, I was saying I would never do it. It's just weird. Like, don't say like. It's just weird. Very strange. So what I'll say is, if you dislike this, make sure to press the thumb down button. If you're subscribed and you dislike this, make sure you unsubscribe, etc. Yes. Otherwise, thank you and see you soon.